Hello, I'm Edith Bowman.
And I'm Michelle Collins.
And welcome to On the Box, the podcast where we celebrate the latest releases, most loved shows on BritBox and beyond.
And this week, we are just thrilled to be joined by the brilliant actress Indira Varma, who plays the aunt that everyone wishes they had, Mrs. Gardiner, in the BritBox hit show The Other Bennet Sister, which I know, Edith, you and I just were obsessed with and are obsessed with.
I just want to watch it all again, to be honest.
I know.
Indira's one of those people who's been in so many brilliant things. Also want to talk to her about Game of Thrones, obviously, Dune Prophecy. She's just been in so much. But I need to begin with you, young lady, if that's
finally.
okay.
Yes.
I want to know about the Vanderpump party.
Before I launch into the majesty of Ms. Lisa Vanderpump, are you a Vanderpump Rules person? Like, did you ever watch Housewives of Beverly Hills or anything like that?
I don't know who she is.
You know, that is upsetting to me, Anna, because I love you and I consider us friends. And that really is, it wounds me. I'm gonna tell you the truth. You would be a better woman knowing her only because she was one of the stars of Beverly Hills Housewives. She ended up leaving that show and created her own empire on Bravo TV, which I think people in the UK can watch on Hayu if you have a Hayu subscription. She's just the epitome English woman with her husband, Ken Todd.
Just the Ken and the dog.
Oh, Ken, by the way, what a charmer that Ken is. Let me tell you something.
Ken's not had much done, has he?
Doubtful. But you know what? He was so charming, shockingly charming, because he's so quiet on the show. He's sort of like just her like little husband who's there until he like defends her famously when he yelled, "Goodbye, Kyle." I know you don't know what that means. People will know what that means. But he was charming, but she is someone who really represents like elegance and class, and she has miniature ponies. Everything is pink, swans, like roses, not my aesthetic per se, but a very particular kind of upper class, rich lady aesthetic. I don't think it's your look either, Edith. I'm guessing.
I think it's a very American upper class look, as opposed to, I don't know, just from what I've from watching from afar. I don't know her. I don't know the show, but it's what did she? I'm really intrigued now, and I'm like already kind of downloading the episodes for me to watch on my travels.
Yes.
What did she? How did she build her empire from moving from the Beverly Hills franchise to her own world?
Well, she was a restaurant owner in Beverly Hills. So she had two, possibly more than two, but the two that come to mind are Sir and Villa Blanca. I don't think either of them are open. Now there are new other restaurants that she has. But when I lived in LA, I would go there from time to time just because it was part of the show. It was kind of like going to... I'm trying to think, like visiting Abbey Road. It's like, oh, this is something that I've seen on TV I want to experience. So she made her money that way. And then the Vanderpump Rules was a reality show following all the young slut waiters and waitresses and bartenders from Sir, which was her restaurant. And that is really what kind of launched her as not just a boss, but kind of as this like Mother Goose figure that is taking care of all these like aspiring young actors and actresses in Hollywood. So yeah, she's made an amazing life for herself. And there are so many places in Vegas. Now, Edith, have you been to Las Vegas, Nevada?
No, but I'm now hoping that you can sort me out with a good rate at her hotel because it looks insane.
I'm like, what do you think? Who do you think I am? No, honestly, I would even pay for your room if you were to come to Vegas.
You have two beds in your room.
I did because I went with my friend Sean, and if we're going to be honest, they wouldn't splurge for his own room. I said, okay, we'll share a room. And luckily, he doesn't snore, nor do I. I want to get that on the record. I was told very quiet sleeper. The hotel was really beautiful. And here's I think the best thing about it, if you do visit Vegas, it is in the ultimate best location. I'm very snobby with Vegas. You have to be somewhere between like the Cosmopolitan Hotel up to maybe the Venetian, which if you're within that range, you're in a great spot. You don't have to even take Ubers anywhere. You can kind of walk everywhere. But Vegas is fun. And, I think it surprises people when I like it as much as I do because it is seedy. And I famously don't like places that are like riddled with prostitutes. I'm known for that, of not liking that. And for some reason in Vegas, everything just comes together. It's a great time. There's good drinks,
everyone's
good food.
welcome.
Literally. And the people watching. Oh, Edith. The people watching in Vegas. It's every kind of human being you've ever seen with every good and bad thing wrong with them. It's just, I could sit in a lobby in Las Vegas with a drink and be happy for hours. It's like putting a baby in front of an iPad. I love it.
I've loved watching you over the last couple of weeks. You've been doing quite a lot of like good kind of strutting down red carpets recently, and you've been absolutely owning it. I have to say, it's been
That's
fun to
nice.
watch.
Thanks. I feel like you
Yeah.
also have though, but when I think of you, you are the queen of the red carpet, not just interview, but really owning and kind of conducting really red carpets. I feel like you're kind of the main go-to person for that in a
I'm kind
beautiful
of
way.
definitely my expiry age is definitely around the corner. There's definitely the younger
Don't say
bucks
that.
coming through and doing more of that. But I wanted to ask you about kind of when you are going, how you feel about going to like those big parties, like the Vanderpump. It was huge. There was like it was the whole hotel, and so I don't know. Do you like that side of it? Of kind of just the sort of like you see the people watching is extraordinary and stuff.
I mean, listen, I really live for it. And the truth is about me is I do love a party
Hmm.
and I do love glam. If you know me well, you know that I'll hem and haw over the price of a purse for like 2 months. I'll be like, I can't spend that much on a purse. And even we're talking a sale bag, like nothing, not Chanel, not anything crazy, but just like a nice bag. I will drop coin on a gown that I will wear one time without batting a lash. I'll be like, "Oh, it's this much. Here's my card." Something about putting on a beautiful gown, and especially I'm quite tall, one that's long enough on me, it literally will transport you into a different persona. It is just I know some people don't enjoy it, and I totally get that too because it is kind of like putting on a costume. It's like Halloween in a way, but I love every part of it. I like slathering myself in tanning lotions, which, by the way, the best ones are all in the UK because those girls know how to tan.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, do this because we never get any sun, so they need it. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I know it's literally it's like the Tesla of self tanners in London. I buy these things; they don't have them here. Yeah, I don't know. There's a feeling to it. I mean, because you've been in glam many times. It makes me become kind of a different person, but I like who she is. It's just like
yeah, playing.
losing and yeah, it's fun.
Mm. I've got to go out to this place in France next week,
Ooh,
a place called Annecy, which I've never been before. So I'm going out to work at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival. And I'm hosting some panels and stuff out there. But I haven't really told anybody I'm going apart from I'm going with the studio to do some work with them. And I just got an email inviting me to from Netflix France, inviting me to their Annecy party at Le Chateau d'Annecy, which
oh my
sounds
god.
well posh, by the way. And so I'm already sort of like hives are like coming out of my neck because
No.
I'm going on my own. I'm not like going with mates, I think, because it's a work trip. So it's like, am I going to know anyone at Netflix France party? And also, what do you wear to like Le Chateau d'Annecy for a Netflix France animation film festival party?
Well, let me
Help
say,
me.
between Annecy and Dauncey, I've never been more excited for an event. I don't even wanna know how do you spell either of those words. I'm going with my gut. First of all, you always look chic. I feel like you have such a particular style that is so you
Feel a
that
bit
you're gonna look
sick.
great. And also, everybody adores you. You walk in a room, you're,
Bonjour, mon
adorable.
ami.
No, what? What'd you say?
Bonjour, mon ami. I'm just going to walk
Yes.
in and just give it a bit of that. Just own it.
Channel
Shall
the
I?
worst parts of Jerry Lewis. They will eat it up. They like literally live for that shit. Pardon my language. They live for that stuff. I just feel like go in, have a glass of champagne or a glass of wine. And yeah, you're a professional. I mean, I feel like you are such a class act and so suave when it comes
Bless
to
you.
it's true though, when it comes to meeting new people and you're so lovable. So I don't think you should think twice about
I'm
this. You're gonna have a
thinking
great
like Charlotte Rampling is my kind of muse, that kind of like slightly dressing it down vibe rather than kind of going, I don't know, I can't think of anybody French who's really over the top and flamboyant.
yeah. Isabella Huppert. I don't know. I'm thinking
Oh,
who?
she's amazing.
She's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
I think I might go down that road of the kind of slightly masculine vibe rather
Mm.
than kind of, but I'll let you know how I get on at the chateau.
I'm excited for you though. Where is I hope I say it. Where is Annecy? Is it in the south?
Honestly, so I'm flying into Geneva in Switzerland, and it's
Oh,
just south of Geneva into France. So yeah,
so like near the Alps, I'm guessing, kind of
it looks
ish.
like Venice. It looks a bit so it's got lots of water. Google it when we finish. Yeah,
I'm gonna
it
look.
looks very pretty. Should we move on from our party chat into someone who's got just an amazing career, and really excited again to have another person to talk about this brilliant show that we love.
Oh, we do love this show, and I'm so excited to have her here.
Listen, really thrilled to welcome our guest for this week. Her career is absolutely extraordinary, and there's so much to talk to, but we know where we want to start on this one, Michelle, because we're such fans of the show.
Yes.
It is an absolute pleasure to welcome to On the Box, Indira Varma. How are you?
I'm very well. It's so lovely to be here.
We love this show so much that I binged it. You know, oftentimes they say, oh, watch this, watch this. I want to say for nearly 10 hours in the dark and barely ate, barely drank. I couldn't get enough of this show. And you are such a bright light in this show. I mean, your character is kind of everybody's safe space, I feel. We know that when we see you on screen, we're going to feel happy and warm and fuzzy. And that must be a pleasure as an actress to have a role like that, where you kind of know that you're the good light in this amazing series.
It's been so joyful to be part of and to play this character, because usually I'm not the safe person in any TV show. But for the first time, a lot of my good friends said, oh, it's so nice to see you being yourself. So that's closer to the real me than all the other characters I've played in other shows. So it's been amazing. It was really lovely, I tell you, to support a woman playing a leading role, because I feel like a lot of my career has been about supporting men in their leading roles and being the girlfriend or the wife or whatever, the sidekick. And here it really was supporting Ella's brilliance as Mary. And I love that. And I feel that also as a mother, and she is also a mother, that it was really nice to do that the way I think all mothers should we would like to be, to empower and encourage, to be that person.
Yeah. She's so observant. And the other thing I love about the character, and also what was created for you in her world, was the costume. And I think that was such a brilliant part of it. And that, almost on Mary's side, we have all this kind of traditional, more traditional anyway, kind of period stuff. And then with Mrs. Gardiner and her world, it's much more flamboyant. There's much more expression. There's much more freedom, still within a kind of period sort of frame, but it just is, it's so voluptuous and colorful and flamboyant, and that's a really lovely thing to be part of that character as well, to tell us about her through her costume.
Yeah, definitely. We had such a ball, and our amazing costume and production manager, actually, they're married, and so there was a lot of input between the two of them about color, and we wanted that family to be a little bit more eccentric and sort of clashing patterns, clashing colors. And because they're sort of merchants in the story, and also because there is a wink to the fact, I still can't take it for granted, the fact that I'm a mixed heritage person playing something in a Jane Austen kind of spin-off, because I grew up in Bath, and when I left drama school, you became successful once you were in some sort of period drama adaptation. And I knew that I was never going to be able to do that. I was never going to be in that. And of course, since Bridgerton, and now things had started to change. And of course, I did a film of Bride and Prejudice a long time ago that was Gurinder Chadha's version, an Indian version.
Yeah.
So it was so lovely to do this. And I think that they referenced that sort of the opulence. There were paisleys. There was the fact that there was trading with, there was a spice trail, a silk route. There was trading going on with all of that. And so some of our materials that were used were from the East. And I love that. It's those little secrets that, and also they're much more vibrant colors. I mean, the paint work in those sets are incredible. They're not like the Bennet family, which is all sort of pastels, and the classic La Dure macaroons box. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was really
It's funny.
fun.
It didn't even cross my mind watching the show. as proof of, I guess, how far we've come. Like, background race never even crossed my mind once while watching it. I just thought, look at this amazing family and the love that they have for her. And I'm also wondering, because you've been part of so many huge shows. Game of Thrones, obviously, a show that one of the few sci-fi kind of fantasy shows that I was obsessed with. I will tell you right now, and I'm sure everybody was. That was such a massive hit here in the US. And I'm curious, when you're working on a project, do you have, obviously Game of Thrones is kind of its own beast because it was already a big success from season 1, but do you have any inkling when you're working on something like, I think this will connect with American audiences, or is it always kind of a shock and a thrill when it happens?
I mean, it's always a shock and a thrill when it happens to connect with anybody. And I don't think you can ever quantify what makes a successful show. I think if we knew how to bottle that, we'd all be hugely successful, and producers would be, I don't know, creating monster hits left, right, and center. But I don't think there is a magic recipe in a way.
Right.
I think there's always an element of try it. And I think that in a way, people try and say, oh, we want something that's like derivative. And so people start to copy. And then it all gets watered down. It becomes a bit vanilla. And I think a lot of the success of the shows that happen to do really well is because somebody took a risk. Like Sharon Horgan, who I had the pleasure of working with, she's very much her own person and will write the stuff that she wants to write. And I think that went for Game of Thrones, and I think it's gone very much for this adaptation. Sarah Quintrell did just a brilliant adaptation of the Janice Hadlow book. I wasn't even going to read the novel. And then I listened, I thought, oh, I may as well see if there's any secret information about the character that I don't know about. Because obviously a novel, you can fit so much more in than the 10, 30-minute episode. And I also I was a bit like, nah, do I care? Yeah. And I listened and I was in bit. It was brilliant. And how brilliantly Sarah has adapted it. How also she did say, she said she lifted so much of it out of the novel because it's so beautifully written anyway. And she herself has a daughter, or she has 2 daughters, and she wanted to speak to them and to make, I don't know, to tell a story that they would relate to. And I really think she's done that. And it was very collaborative as well. Everyone was listening to each other, and there was input and, oh, can I change this word? And can we tap into this relationship? But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But when we were doing it, we were having a ball. We all got on really well. And there was, one of the things about acting that I love is what happens between people. Of course, as an actor, it's what we create between us. It's the magic that happens. It's the reacting. And that's what was going on set, with Ella and Donal and Richard. And Richard I've worked with before. We did a TV series like 20 years ago, playing girlfriend and boyfriend. And I was pregnant at the time with my daughter, who's now 18. And it was great. It was like picking up from where we left off.
Amazing.
And they wrote the pregnancy into the storyline. So now we are actually, our characters in the Other Bennet Sister, the parents, obviously you've got an 18-year-old. And it was just lovely because we have a shorthand, and it was just so playful. And yeah, you must be able to see that on screen, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we had Ella on and Ruth as well, actually, but we were both, Michelle, weren't we, just utterly blown away by Ella. And we've seen her in lots of different things, but I think her being front and center and being able to, like you say, that collaboration, being able to input and being able to feel like she can be heard, that performance is absolutely extraordinary.
I totally agree. I mean, there were times during the shoot where I was just watching her thinking, she's got to get a BAFTA. If not, whatever the American versions are. What are they again?
The Emmys, yeah, Emmy Award.
I really
I think
feel
it's really easy to get. I have 3, so
I'm allowed.
Do you?
No. 3-time Emmy nominated. Get that on the record, but I did not win. I'm sorry, Indira. Go on.
No, but I don't care because it's not about me. It's about her. And I feel that it's an award-winning performance. It's so real and truthful. And unfiltered. And also, I think she has the courage to not be likable. She has moments of sort of stubbornness and sort of obtuseness. And, I just think it's brilliant. And she's really funny.
Hilariously funny.
Yeah.
The other thing I loved about it is that, in so many of these shows, it's about the romance and it's about which guy is she going to pick, who's going to pick her. And your relationship with her, I think for almost all women who have had a complicated relationship with their mothers, which I have to think is most, if not all women, it kind of healed something in us, I think, because just to have that sort of warmth and understanding and acceptance without there being kind of any sort of judgment, and knowing that she now has this safe space where she can be seen for who she is, was a really interesting aspect of the show that I think is why it is really connecting with so many people and especially women. And you're obviously the reason why that is, because you are so natural and your character was so lovable and kind.
You can feel the relationship in a room by watching it, even without there being no dialogue. It's really, I think that's testament to great acting. It doesn't rely purely on the dialogue, and you can kind of feel how she's looking out for her and she's kind of watching her, and you can feel how much love and care there is in that relationship just by watching them.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear. I suppose with Mrs. Gardiner, I felt that she's a sort of an empath, and she's an observer, and she sees somebody who's not a direct blood relation, and she feels it's not that she can see the sort of untapped brilliance of this girl. She just sees someone who's not being themselves and who's been overlooked and squashed a bit by her family and all the brilliance of everyone else. And don't we just, in our own lives, there's always somebody who's cleverer and funnier and prettier at school, whether it's in our own families or whether it's at school or at college or whatever. And the idea that there's somebody saying, no, I know that you just need to find who you truly are. And actually in life, if only we all had the courage to be who we truly are and to follow what we love, we'd all be, I don't know, we'd be who we should be.
Is that how you were brought up in the beautiful? By the way, I love Bath. I went to Bath as a little girl, and then recently, it is one of them. It literally looks like a set on Game of Thrones. It is one of the most beautiful cities, I think, in the UK. But was that how you were kind of brought up? Were you in a home that was a personal question, but that had like support in that sense for your gift and everything else?
We don't know about that. I mean, like you say, relationships, family related dynamics are really complex.
Yeah.
My mom died in December, so I don't feel like I'm betraying her in any way. My mum was amazing. My parents had me quite late in life. They were both visual artists, and I think because they had me late in life, they essentially did what the hell they wanted to do. They weren't worrying about a child, and so my mother was 41 when I was born, and my dad I think was 50. I was the only child. And they just were like, okay, well, we've got a child now, so you're going to have to fit in the suitcase under the armpit. You're going to come along with us and do whatever it is we're doing and that we're excited about. And it meant that I was sort of, I had to go along. And luckily, I think I'm fairly robust as a personality, that I could find my own space and I wasn't afraid to talk to other kids and make friends wherever I was. I certainly had insecurities along the way and still do. But I think observing my mum especially, she was Swiss. She was someone who doesn't give a shit about what anyone thinks about. I used to hate it because it was so deeply embarrassing. Because, she was old. It was like people thought she was my grandma at school and all the rest of it. She was eccentric. She never put makeup on. She didn't care the way she looked. She's scruffy. She's dirty. Not dirty, but, scruffy. She was eccentric. And she didn't give a hoot. But she had such a sense of joy. And I do feel that I want to live like that. And I think I was trying to channel a bit of that into Mrs. Gardiner, because I felt that there's got to be mischief and playfulness. And we've got to be able to take the piss out of each other in order sometimes to get to know the real person. You have to tease them, don't you? And actually, when you can tease somebody, it shows that it comes from affectionate play if it's nice teasing, and it shows love. I think with my dad, I know this is not meant to be a personal
No,
podcast,
I'm really enjoying it, honestly. So keep going. Yeah.
but with my dad, who was also quite unique, he was Indian, and I think he felt very much that he had to fit in order to belong.
Yeah.
There's a word I'm looking for. There's I can't remember what the
Assimilate,
word is.
maybe?
Yeah, to assimilate. He had to
Yeah.
assimilate. So I could see that he was battling with having to be truly himself and who he wants to be.
I've got to say, I absolutely love the last season of The Night Manager. So good.
So good.
So good. What I mean, we see you all kind of, full of love and positivity and the other Bennet, but this was like, oh, she was piece of work, wasn't she?
I
But that
know.
as well must be so much fun to play with, and
Oh, it's so great. I love it. I love the fact that also Myra Cavendish, my character, also is a mother, and yet she spends more time at work trying to be doing her devious stuff than she does at home. And I think she's burdened by that guilt, but it doesn't stop her. And I think, I'm fascinated by like what motivates a person to behave the way they do, and what are the stakes. And we haven't finished exploring that. So there's a limit. It's probably in season 3, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're so busy. Indira, you're the busiest woman I think we've had on the show, because now you're in Glengarry Glen Ross in the West End. Currently, right? You have shows all week.
Yeah, we press tomorrow night.
Oh, good luck.
Break a leg. Oh my God, very exciting. And it's an all-female production.
It is. It's the
Amazing.
first ever. David Mamet has given permission for this production to be the first ever premiere of an all-female production. Yeah.
Wow.
But we haven't changed the pronouns. So it's quite weird and meta in a way, but we are women playing women. And it's fascinating. I think it's really cool. I struggled with it because, it is written for men. It's fascinating when you think about, like, for example, Sarah Quintrell, obviously a woman, is writing very much for women. You can really feel that, how modern it is, how it doesn't tap into cliche, how it feels the characters really are so well rounded. And here we're women trying to not feminize Mamet work, but own it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are resonances that hopefully audiences are getting from us being women as opposed to the men playing it. For example, again, it's a theme now. I play Shelley Levine, the machine. So traditionally, Jack Lemmon's character originally Jack Lemmon's character in the film.
Yeah.
That's not my usual casting. But David Mamet that character mentioned 3 times, my daughter. Literally all she says, my daughter. And I think because of our unconscious bias in life, when we hear a father say in an all-male production, something like Glengarry Glen Ross, we hear a man say, my daughter, you sort of at the back of your head go, all right, yeah, he's divorcee, his wife's probably at home with the kid, and he needs to earn
looking
some money.
after the kids.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like when a woman said that, you think she's a single mum. So suddenly the stakes have been raised. So I think there's little things like that. And the way women are slightly more emotionally receptive to each other and in the detail of their interactions. We read each other in kind of weird, subtle ways. And maybe our emotions are slightly more accessible, the sort of softer emotions. So it's been a really fascinating.
So fascinating. Cool. Just to have to not change it, for it just to be almost like the female interpretation, but not shifting anything. That's such a fascinating and unique way of adapting it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously we want more female-led plays, female-led TV and film and all the rest of it, and therefore we want them written by women and we want them directed by women. But we're still playing catch up, I think, in that department. And so why not do a kind of classic, brilliant play and just switch the genders? You know, we've been doing it with Shakespeare for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Why not? It's really cool.
Can I be slightly shallow for a second?
Please.
Pedro Pascal. I just have to ask you about Pedro. I remember the year of COVID where everything was kind of shut down. I hosted the BAFTAs with Dermot and there was no audience, but they did have kind of guest people come and give out awards, and Pedro was one of them. And I remember shouting from one side of the Royal Albert Hall to the other as he left after doing the citation, "I love you, Pedro." And this was, I think, just as the first season of Mando had come out, sort of thing. But obviously, you know, Game of Thrones, playing husband and wife, and it was before kind of Pedro fever hit the world, really. What's he like?
Oh, he's just a god, isn't he? Let's be honest. But I think that's partly because he's a theatre boy. He comes from theatre. And I think, you know, it means that you're always willing to play. It's much more about the ensemble. Everyone has value. There is no, like, you know, on a cast list, you're numbered, aren't you? So it's number one is the top person in the
Does
cast.
that still happen?
Of course it does, yeah. And it's not alphabetical. The one time my first pilot I ever did, they decided to do it alphabetically. And because I'm Lee, I was 9. And in fact, I should have been number 1. And it took 3 weeks for like the crew to go, "Oh, you're actually number 1. It was really weird. And I
would have stormed off. Good for you. I would have left.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, to me, it had no value particularly, you realize that other people treat you according to your number. And I think if you've done theatre, that doesn't exist and everyone is equal. And, you know, you've got a 2-line part, you come on, but you're just as important as the person who's got all the dialogue and who's the star of the show. And I think I really do believe that's partly what makes Pedro such a lovely human being. And he's a laugh, and he's talented, and he's hot, and I mean, God, he's a winner.
Can I share a quick Pedro story that I think you'll appreciate, which is that 100 years ago when I lived in LA, I went to a July 4th barbecue with some friends, the beautiful house, and I see this really hot guy chit-chatting. I'm like by the drinks table, and they're just going, "Oh, congratulations, man." He's like, "Oh, I can't wait. Thank you. Thank you."
Yeah.
So my to like break the ice, I went as a joke. I went, "Are you going to be on Game of Thrones?" And he went, "Yeah." "How did you know?" And I went, "No, are you being serious?" He goes, "No, I'm literally going to be on Game of Thrones." I go, "I was joking." And it was Pedro Pascal right before he got that part.
I love that.
Isn't that so funny? And he was the nicest. I mean, we're talking, this was now a while ago, but first of all, I was in love, obviously. I left being like, "Call Kleinfelds. It's happening for me. I'm engaged." Like, he was so hot and so funny and so charming, and just right even there, I thought, this is a star. And it's some people have that quality. He really has it. Well, on top of which being just such a sweet, funny guy. Like, he's great.
Agreed. Yeah.
I also want to find out, because your career is so fascinating. You've done, I mean, huge Shakespearean productions and obviously these shows that we're mentioning, and you consistently work. But, you know, there's this thing with like overnight success, I think, with a lot of young actors where they wake up, kind of Pedro in a way had this. You wake up one day and it's like, everybody knows who you are versus the steadiness of working. Do you think it's healthier kind of having a career like yours where you're just working, you're recognizable and you're successful, but, you know, it's not that kind of shock, I guess, because fame is a very odd beast. It's a very strange thing, kind of horrible in a way.
I think I think it would be awful to be a young person in your sort of 20s to suddenly hit overnight success, because you don't know who you are and you don't know how good you are. And so, and I don't know. I remember Kit Harington saying quite early on that he realized that it was the success of the show of Game of Thrones rather than he himself. And, you know, and of course he's a super talented actor, but I thought that was really canny of him to understand that sometimes it's a piece that appeals to people. It's not necessarily an individual. And we have to just keep working. And I think one of the things is I feel really lucky. Like, for example, doing this play at the moment, it's a huge risk for me because I've never played a role like this before, let alone a man. But it's not my usual casting. And I could fail abysmally. And I want to have the courage to fail because that will make me better and it'll open other avenues.
It's interesting when you mentioned that thing of Game of Thrones with those, particularly those young actors as well, and how they had to navigate that sort of sudden, they're at the start of something and suddenly the expectation of them is huge, and it's been, it's amazing to see someone like Sophie and just how, choices, and Bella as well, and the choices that they're making, that are, I imagine it's been it's hard when you're that young and suddenly you're kind of catapult out into
and people want you to
everybody
repeat
knows you.
yourself. They're all like, oh, can you do that thing you did in blah? And it's like, well, yeah, I can, but my God, I'm getting boring and boring myself, and I think I feel like and also, we get depressive. Like if nobody really cares who you are because you're playing a small role, you get to try things and do something that not everyone will like, and it doesn't really matter. And hopefully somebody will employ you again. It's great. And I can travel by tube and nobody will.
We love the tube. When they're not striking, it's one of the best modes of transportation, I would say. You'll know when they're striking. If I have any plan on being in London, there will be a strike. Just so you know, every time I'm there, they're like, strike today. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah. Time bike, electric bike.
That won't have, that's a death sentence for me. But you are coming up also on another major HBO fantasy series with Dune Prophecy.
Yeah.
Can you explain to a layperson, and I'm that person, I've seen Dune, obviously great film. What is the series covering? How is it kind of differing from the film series?
I'm always so bad at explaining anything. I'm so glad you didn't have to see what Night Manager is about. It's so complex. Yeah, from what I understand.
Yes, it's okay.
Dune Prophecy follows the sisterhood. And it takes place 10,000 years before the Dune movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Bene Gesserit.
The Bene Gesserit, exactly. It's about them and how they came together and what made them, and and all that.
Made them so scary.
And again, not to drop my own life, but I just played one of the Bene Gesserit in the Las Culturistas Awards, which are this award show that's airing here in the United States. And they had me and two other comedians, I guess, in the getup, which, by the way, I had gotten a spray tan. I just want everyone to know I paid $100 for a spray tan. Every part of my body is covered. Gloves.
Oh, wow.
Veil, huge thing. But I gotta say, it was very chic. I don't think they get enough credit for how chic the look is, because it was better than my dress. I was like, wait, it's nice.
Wow. I mean, the costumes are off the scale.
Wow.
I am not Bene Gesserit. I can't remember if I'm allowed to tell you who I play or not. I think there's been some film, not pictures released or whatever. I am Sabine Venport of Venport Holding, and basically we are. I can't remember who I am, but we're transport. We deal in transport. Yeah. I think the richest woman in the universe.
She's looking after the tube on June.
Time travel tube.
Strike. Sabine, I'm so angry.
However, I can make the strike happen if I want to.
Here we go.
Power move.
I'm sounding terribly ill-informed, but you forget the stuff. I've got so many lines in Glengarry. There's not much space in my head anymore.
I was going to say, you must have to memorize, because David Mamet, he's a wordy playwright. He's known just like a million miles a minute of words. So how do you even begin to memorize something like that? Like, that just seems like
you just have to get help. You've got to get mental help. Yeah, and just drill it. It's really good fun, and really understand what the hell you're saying, why, and every single repetition, every single thought break, all of that stuff you got to learn. So it's really fun to do some sci-fi and look fabulous in a costume and get to work with Emily Watson, for God's sake. I know, and Olivia Williams, and just some great women. Again, the themes of the women. Yeah.
When you are, starting a run in theatre, can you think past that? In terms we were just talking about, your brain can only take so much, sort of thing. You're in that mode, and then it's kind of, you're taking a break afterwards. Or do you like to have sort of things lined up post?
I mean, the thing is, I think as an actor, you always worry about what's my next job and all the rest of it. And I'm currently been in a super privileged position where I know what my next projects are. And, but you sometimes there's like catch up. Like, for example, I do a lot of audiobooks and I've been doing, Elizabeth Jane Howard's Catholic Chronicles, which are unreal. If anyone likes reading, they start from between the Second World Wars and the 1930s. Sorry, between the wars. So in the 1930s, and they span through the Second World War and into the 50s, and they are stunning. And it's like sort of family saga stuff. It's just utterly brilliant. It's beautifully written. So I've already done 4 of those, which are currently on Audible. But I still owe them 2. They're over 600 pages each.
Oh my God.
Now, once I open, I have to go back into the studio and record those during the day and then perform the play at night. So it's like, it's kind of a bit full on. And then after that, I'm going to do a telly, but I can't remember whether it's been announced or not.
Okay. I have 2 questions.
But
One,
it's fun.
how do you keep your voice sounding so fresh when you're doing this much speaking? Is there a routine that you have? 2, when do you take vacations? Because now I'm worried. Before I thought, oh, look at her, successful. Where are you going and what is the vocal routine?
Okay. I'm first to the 16th. I'm going to be very specific. And I'm going to go to Greece.
Oh, my favorite place in the world.
I love Greece. I love it. I can't wait to swim in the sea, eat loads of fish. I cannot wait.
That's amazing. You deserve it.
And gargle with salt water. That,
Is that it?
No. That, I mean, obviously, warm-ups, vocal warm-up before going on stage. Support your voice from your gut. Licorice tea. If I'm doing audio stuff, I'm sure you guys know this. Licorice tea is really good because it sort of coats your vocal cords a little bit. I never use like cough sweets because they numb your vocal cords. And then if you shout, you can't feel that you're destroying it. And then at the end of the night, I gargle with salt if I hurt my vocals a little bit. And do a hum down at the end of the night to warm down. In fact, that's really important too.
Hum downs. Never heard that before.
What did you hum down?
Hum down.
Hi, I like the sound of it. It's very
intriguing. Yeah, I'm going to Google hum down as soon as this is finished.
We're going to find dark parts of the internet. I know. I don't know if you should Google it. Use an incognito tab that first time around. You have. Are you a good singer? Is my question. Can you sing?
Not really. I like to pretend that I'm brilliant, but I'm so not. I have sung professionally on stage before, but I did it, and I did a play called What was it called? Privates on Parade. It was James McAvoy's one of his very first jobs, and he and I played sort of young lovers in 1948, and it was a sort of play with music, and we had a duet. We had to dance and sing together, and I was convinced I was going to discover an amazing voice. And I didn't. I mean, my voice is fine. I can carry a tune, but I can't sort of do that amazing belt. And I think it's because I haven't got amazing control when I'm singing. Not that I got a tune.
Musical. Yeah, see, after all that hum down talk, I thought, oh, certainly there's a musical that you would want to take on. So that's heartbreaking for me, but okay. We'll move on.
Maybe not. It's not heartbreaking. You've missed a bullet.
I've got a really boring technical question on the recording audiobook front because I'm so fascinated about because my youngest just went off on a school trip, bless him, and they weren't allowed to take any devices or anything with them, which was kind of like really, I was quite excited for me for that, not him. But but what he was allowed to take was a cassette player. So he spent 3 days transferring stuff onto cassette that he could take with this thing. And one of the things he did was the audiobook for Fantastic Mr. Fox that Chris O'Dowd voices, which is just brilliantly done. When you've got a book, like you were saying, 600 pages?
Yeah.
How do you split that up into sessions in terms of you're not sitting there doing the entire book? Do you do it into chapters? Is it like we're going to do an hour today? Or how does it work in terms of, I guess maybe each book's different.
You do 10 till 5 every day.
Wow.
until you finished it. And I think I probably record about 110 to 120 pages a day. And yeah, it's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's hard. I did a lot of the witches for Terry Pratchett, and that was a right laugh
Ooh.
because there's so many different characters. So you have to prep it. So you have to, obviously you have to know what the story is, but you have to also decide what the characters are. And you can't, you have a character and in the very final page, it says in his broad Scottish brogue or whatever. And you're like, oh no, I've done him well. What am I going to do?
Back to the beginning, dear.
Yeah. So you have to sort of prep it properly, but that's really fun.
I'm also laughing. We talked about how, about motherhood a lot, I think, in this episode. And you really played the queen of all mothers in Oedipus across from Rami Malek. I mean, you don't get more motherly than that.
I mean, that's weird motherly though, isn't it?
Yeah, we're getting to hum down territory, but how, but out of curiosity, is it, I mean, he is such an amazing actor too. We love Rami, but yeah, creepy character to play. I imagine, how is it getting into a character, into a role like that? It's such an iconic mother role, obviously.
Well, she's not a creepy character because she doesn't know she's his mother. She doesn't know until the very end. And then the minute she knows, she's devastated. But yeah. And I think that whole thing about the guilt and the sort of fear for the love of your child, the idea of losing your child because of what's happened. In our version, Ella Hickson's version, which I again is adapted by a woman. She didn't want what's her name again? I can't remember my character's name.
Oh, I had it up. I'll tell you in a second.
Oedipus's mum is called...
It was Jocasta.
Jocasta, yeah. She didn't want Jocasta to take her own life once she found out. Out of guilt. She wanted her, because actually her energy is towards her son. She, it's like, we'll get over this. We've got children. The love still exists. And I love that. I feel that that's a very female thing. It's like, we'll get through this. Women will always we'll just get through this.
That's a fact. Yes.
Yeah. On that tip though, with just going back to Ilaria, at the end of that show, she never really gets to define an ending, but what do you think about characters once you've left them, in terms of where the end for us as fans and audience, in terms of, oh, I think she went here, or I think she did this. Do you ever sort of fantasize about that element of them? Or do you just kind of like, when you're done, you're done?
When I'm done, I'm done. But I think because of things like social media, when Ilaria was stuck in that prison cell, I got a message saying, "Are you still down there?" We'll send pizza. And that appealed to me. I like the idea that she's down there and people keep sending delivery.
I love that. Well, Uber are going to jump on that. Uber Eats are jumping on that for their next ad campaign, where it's like, for sure, yeah, totally.
Edith, do you think we should move on to revival? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, Indira, we're very excited to ask you this question. We do it every week with every guest, and it's a little feature we call Revival. So we ask our guests, if you could revive one of your favorite British shows from the past, what would it be? It could be a one-off, could be a mini-series, something that really had an impact on you. So tell us, what would your revival show be?
I feel it's a bit of a cop-out, but I feel that it's very much in keeping with me and a little bit of what we talked about, which is, and I know it's quite popular, is Play for Today. BBC One, 1970 to 84, they ran Play for Today, which were basically original TV plays or adaptations of stage plays and novels. And they were about 50 to 100 minutes long, and they were all one-offs. And you had Dennis Potter, Peter Nichol, Harold Pinter, Mike Leigh, David Hare, Jack Rosenthal, loads of men.
Lots of men.
I feel we need a revival to redress that balance, with women and diversity, gender, everything. I think it would be amazing. And often they explored modern social issues. And I've got a feeling somebody did try and bring it back, and it never happened. I'm not specifically saying that there was one which really sort of affected me, but there was something of the joy of every week you'd be watching something. You didn't know anything about it. It wasn't, because I feel like we've lost the culture of just watching stuff for the sake of it, whether that's TV or theatre.
And not knowing anything about it as well.
No, exactly. And like in theatre, it always makes me a bit sad when there's star casting. Like, just come and see the bloody play. Like, that's what people used to do in the old days. Or telly, it's like, wow, I didn't know anybody in it, or I'd never heard of the writer. Fuck, it was brilliant, and I love that idea. Also, you can champion new writers, and you can champion theatre writers. I just think it would be amazing.
It's a great idea.
And what was it? Do you remember Angels in America?
Yeah.
A while ago. And the TV version, I think it was, the film version, Meryl Streep. She played about 5 characters in it or something. I think that, like, in a way, could keep playing loads of different characters, and you'd get to just play loads, and it would just be so much fun. Like having a little theatre troupe, a company. I think it would be amazing because it can be funny, it can be everything.
It's a great idea. And anything I think that connects people, especially younger generations, to the arts and to live theater is something that is like very needed at the moment. So I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Such a good idea. And I'm did you see Sarah Snook in the picture of Dorian Gray, which was just mind blowing in terms of how she did that and that whole production. The idea of seeing something like that, kind of that's pushing boundaries in terms of, as well as those kind of something just really traditional, like the range that you could put on would be incredible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not talking, because we do have National Theatre Live, NT Live, where, they do film and show the play, screen the play. And I don't think it should be like that. I think they should be screenplays that are properly for they've been filmed properly. I think that it would be brilliant because you can show things differently, and I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm in. I'm buying tickets.
Okay, good. I hope someone out there's listening that they'll commission it.
We have a lot of very successful listeners, so I think it's highly possible that this could happen. I don't doubt it one bit.
Michelle and her 3 Emmys is definitely going to make that happen for you.
Indira, you are just so charming and insightful. It was a pleasure getting to talk about the Other Bennet Sister with you and just all of your projects. I'm so happy that we had a chance to talk to you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
She was great. I loved that. Also, her revival. I'm sure someone else mentioned that recently about bringing back the kind of plays on TV side of things as well. So I feel like if we constantly have people recommending that, it's going to come back. I loved her.
I loved her. I love anyone who has a good anecdote. That's my favorite kind of guest. And she showed up ready to give us a story. And yeah, I had actually never heard about that show, but I'm all for anything that brings like old arts back into anything that's not our telephone, basically. So like, classical music, musical theater, live plays, art, going to museums, just like experiencing things in a visceral way versus just having like a digital screen in our face. I am all for. So yes, I love it.
Listen, The Other Bennet Sister, if you haven't watched it, why, basically? But it is available to watch now, and you can see her in Luther as well, also available to watch right now on BritBox.
And don't worry, because Edith and I will be back next week. And of course, we'll have more insider info from more of your favorite British shows. We love you. We will see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye. You've been listening to On The Box, hosted by Edith Bowman and Michelle Collins. The music was by Dario Forzato and Canio Claudio Tristano, courtesy of 411 Music. Research and additional material by Angela Channel. The mix engineer was Arlie Adlington. The production coordinator was Caroline Barlow. The production manager was Katie Baum. The production executive was Ian Hayden. The executive producers for BritBox are Alana McGahey and Diane Robina. And executive producer for BBC Studios is Pete Strauss.
The producer was Rajiv Karia. On the Box is a BBC Studios production for BritBox.